So welcome to 5-minute revision for paper 2, and we're looking at question 1. So please make sure that before you start question 1 you have read through all the questions first and read the two sources carefully. Please don't start the reading questions until you've read through both texts and had a look at the questions, so that you're nice and prepared and you know the topic of the texts already. Okay, so assuming you've done that, let's have a look at question 1. So we're going to find our 4 true statements. You've got to make sure that you carefully shade the box if you think it's true. And remember, if you change your mind, just clearly cross it out and choose the answer that you want to, okay? Remember, only choose 4. Don't choose 5 or 6, okay? It doesn't work. Only choose 4, and if you make a mistake, cross it out clearly. Okay, so this is a good example of how we can use synonyms and antonyms to help us to answer these questions, and also how there is usually one tricky one. So let's have a look at our statements. So A, the inspector travels to school by train. So we know that we're going to find the evidence for that straight away because the evidence appears in the same order as the statements, okay? And here it said, she saw my car pull up. So we know that that's definitely false. He didn't come by train. So that's an easy one. Next one. Sister Brendan reacts quickly to the arrival of the inspector. Let's have a look. It says here, she was at the door of the school to greet me before I had the chance to straighten my tie and comb my hair. So that phrase shows us that she was there very quickly. So that one would be true. C. The people who live in the centre of Crompton are mostly wealthy. Let's read on. She beamed so widely that had she worn lipstick, I would have expected to see traces on her ears. The small school was sited in the disadvantaged centre of Crompton. Okay, so here we've got an antonym, an opposite. So the word disadvantaged is actually opposite to wealthy. If you're disadvantaged, you don't have much. So this shows us that this is false. It's not the same. Okay, they're not wealthy, they're disadvantaged. So false again. D. There are no chimneys or warehouses in Crompton. Now be a little bit careful here, because sometimes in a rush students can get their negatives and positives muddled up. So you might see the word chimneys and warehouses here and mark this as true. But it says there are no chimneys or warehouses, so that would be false. So just be a little bit careful if there's words like not or no, and just make sure that you've read it correctly. Next one. School is situated next to a wasteland. So if we read on, it says the school was adjacent to a grim and forbidding wasteland. So even if you weren't sure of what adjacent was, you could make a good guess that that was true, as adjacent is a synonym. It means the same as next to. So that one's nice and clearly true. F. Some of the houses in the town have been damaged. Let's have a look. Derelict buildings and piles of rubble surrounded by half-demolished houses. So again, we've kind of got a synonym here. Half-demolished has a similar meaning to damaged. So yes, that one's true as well. Now G, I think, is the tricky one. The reason I think it's tricky is because there's no clear evidence. It doesn't say the inspector thinks Crompton is lively or the inspector thinks Crompton is horrible. This one you've got to use your implicit knowledge and an inference, okay? So what it does say is that the houses seem to grow upwards like great red jagged teeth from blackened gums, and here it says from the grime and dust, etc. So from that we can infer that the inspector really doesn't think this is a very nice place. You're not going to describe something as like blackened gums and covered in grime and dust if you think it's a lively and cheerful place. So this one I think is where a student might not be that sure of their answer, okay? But this one again is false. Last one, the school is well cared for. Let's have a look. I walked into an oasis, a calm, bright, welcoming and orderly building. So the most closest synonym there is orderly. So if something is well cared for, it's ordered, it's tidy, okay? So that, again, we've got a synonym, so that makes that one true, okay? So make sure that you check each statement. It will take you a bit longer than paper 1. It might take you a bit longer than 5 minutes, but that's fine. We want these 4 marks, okay? Check each statement, just as I did here, remembering that they'll be in the same order, in the text, and do look out for synonyms, antonyms and small words like no that can change the meaning. Okay, so that was paper 2, question 1.